Going live, going live, going live. We should be live, even though there'll be a delay on the YouTube coming up, I would imagine. What's up, everybody? Give people a few seconds to show up. I know there were some people on the waiting list, so hopefully don't get into this exclusive club. You know, it's like Studio 54 in here. You got a waiting list and a velvet rope on YouTube waiting for live streams. I'm here with Dan Gunsberg, aka Gunny, as everyone knows him. He's the CEO of HXRO, but more importantly, good friend and also a trader who's been at this longer than most of you have probably been alive. Do you think that's accurate?
That's probably pretty spot on, Scott. Yep.
How does that make you feel?
It's the boomer in me is living large right now. So.
What do you think the official age for a boomer is in the crypto community? Not actual boomers, but where they consider you a boomer.
Yes, on a relative basis?
Yeah.
I'd say over 40.
I was thinking even maybe like 35. You're definitely giving us a little bit of extra credit there, which is awesome.
You know, I always feel like mentally I stopped aging at about 26. So
like 18.
18 for you? All right, fair enough.
No, actually, I think college is a write-off. So I think that we can call it 18. So yeah, just giving a few more people a chance to get in here. Officially informed that we are up. So that's a good thing. Excited to see what you've got today. As I kind of said on Twitter yesterday, I'm pissed that I can't actually trade it.
Yep, it's a shame that U.S. is prohibited from participating not only on Ticks and Wicks, but just on the platform in general. The good thing, HXRO Labs is, which is our content and education and just crypto everything platform that we just put live a couple weeks ago, is available to everybody. So you can start there, and we're still going to be providing a lot of the data that's coming off of Ticks and Wicks is, we feel is so useful in so many ways, from sentiment, and also just like really being able to give people perspective of how to look at the options market in a different way that is super simplified and really understandable for just like, the common man like most of us. And being able to take that information and then learn how to utilize it as clues into, which way the market might be going, or, how to create some more interesting trades, become useful. And hopefully at some point we'll be able to, be able to open it up. But for now it's closed off.
It's interesting. I never thought of it sort of from the sentiment perspective, but that's really interesting because you're really just giving a binary option, right? Like yes or no. And so it really simplifies what the general thinking is on any given time frame.
Yeah, and it's definitely not a binary option in the way that you think about, like or people that have been in the retail financial market have thought about binary options. It's definitely our parimutuel product Moonract is it's binary in nature, but it really is just like a sentiment engine because it's all peer-to-peer. This actually has the underpinnings of like of a 0-1 prediction or futures market, kind of like how you would think about, similarly like how Biden-Trump trades on FTX. But it's, it's all RFQ modeled, and it really is designed to be a very simplistic form of vanilla options, which in reality are not so vanilla. They're actually super complex. They're just called vanilla by professionals because they're standardized, and it's what you generally see when you go to an exchange or like a class, like a legacy exchange, or if you go to Deribit, which, I think Deribit is actually probably one of the best all-around exchanges in the marketplace by a long shot. They deliver an incredible vanilla options product, but trading vanilla options comes with a lot of complexities, and our goal is to really simplify those complexities down and make it very understandable and easily engageable for the masses.
That makes a lot of sense. So is that what inspired you to create it? I mean, is that you just thought there was like a gaping hole in the market basically, and that a product like this needed to exist?
Absolutely. What really drove us was a couple things. One is this overarching mission of HXRO to take what are otherwise pretty esoteric products and simplify them down and to make them engaging, have really good user experience, make it inviting for the newer trader and also for the experienced trader. Like it's got to be set up still to be very liquid and very competitive in terms of market pricing, in a way that the more sophisticated trader and just like the newer trader will both want to participate with it. But we really thought about this in a way that, especially in the last couple of years, there's really been this trend towards kind of how a lot of people think about the market, especially as the money printers have been, in sixth gear for what, fucking 8 years now?
Decade,
10 years, 12 years. Yeah. Being able to tie real fundamental value to the price of stocks, for example, has changed dramatically. So you take that and you couple it with like how robust data has become and how available it's become to everybody just beyond like the most sophisticated quant prop firms or hedge funds, and it's really just, it's been commoditized. And when you have that level of availability, the playing field can change a little bit. And what's also become interesting, and this is something I don't think a lot of people know, is like let's take like the sports betting markets, for example, like take like Betfair or BetDAC or Bet365, and they have live markets now. So they've actually taken all the elements of the trading of our world and dropped it into theirs. And really, like when you think about it over time, like what's the difference? These are, at the end of the day, it's like it's data, it's a data stream. They're widgets, and I want to get into like the difference between gambling and not gambling in a second, because I have some thoughts about that. But what they really are, it's just, these are really widgets at the end of the day that you're taking positions on. And whether it's on a sporting event, and there's enough data now in sporting events where some of the best trading desks in the world, like Susquehanna, I'm pretty sure they're one of the largest market makers on like Betfair.
Right.
And so they look at data, they distill data down into, and then find ways they can extract edge from it, right? And so take that, and then we just want to take that. And so when we think about that, we look at it as like, well, what are the things that users need to be able to participate in markets in a way that is, just a lot more simplistic? And all of that's going to come down to your user experience and to the information that you're seeing and the decisions that you're making. So all we did with this new product, Ticks and Wicks, we took the complexity of options, which, like when you think about an options price, options are multidimensional. You are going in, you have time value is priced in. You have the underlying value of, of the asset that you're trading. You have volatility. You have the rate at which your option starts to look more and more like the underlying asset. All of these elements together make up how you construct value for an options position, like in a classic sense. That is like super complex for most people. Most people want to look at the market the same way they want to look at a sporting event. They want to get some level of information, they want to distill it down, and they want to say like, how much do I want to put on this? What is my potential outcome? Do I have an opportunity for edge here, right? And so what we did is we took all of that information, distilled it down into one package, and as opposed to giving it to you as all these complex components, we're going to educate you on those complex components through labs, but we want to deliver to you in a way that from your phone you can say like, okay, there's something mismatched. Wait a minute, this, by December 25th, the 20,000 strike. Do I think Bitcoin's going to be higher than 20,000? Yeah, this market's willing to pay me, 17 to 1 or 18 to 1 or let's say it's 20 to 1. Yeah, I'll take that all day. If I had to deliver that to that same exact information to you in a complex option structure, like you'd be like, I have no idea what this is. Or you'd be going into it completely blind.
Barrier to entry is too high. You just wouldn't even bother.
Exactly. So all we've done is distill everything down to probabilities. And what's better about it is that it's not a market maker that's determining those probabilities. It's actually the market. And so these are what we call market odds. This is the market communicating to you, this is what the current price, now there's a model around it, of course, but this is what the current price the market is saying are, based on probabilities of Bitcoin closing above 20,000 or touching 20,000 or some combination thereof.
Right.
And that in itself is what this product is and is how you can execute on it. And so we've taken that, simplified it down to just literally you can get it done in a couple clicks, and away you go. Now, just like options, otherwise you can use these against other products. You can use it. You can use them on their own. You can, if you feel like you want to take a punt, you can take a punt.
So they're good for hedging. They're still good for hedging. Yeah.
Right. Options at the end of the day, like options are insurance products. Like they were created to provide insurance against, against everything from like outlier events to just things that are going on like down to the microsecond. And so
right.
Just in the same exact way, you can use these for hedging. You can use them as spreads. You can trade them against each other. You can trade them against other products that are in other markets. It's all there. It's all available, and delivered very simplistically. And so the last thing that I'll say about it before we get onto it is that a lot of people look at something like this and they see how we present it, which is in a very user-friendly kind of entertainment gamified way. And they'll look and go, well, this is a gambling product. And my response to that is, trading a perp swap is a gambling product. Trading Bitcoin, if you showed up here in Bitcoin, you showed up in a market like Bitcoin or trading alts, like you can, those are gambling products. And you think, are they really? Like, do I think they're a gambling product? No, because I approach them in a way that is like, there's edge there, right? At least I think I have over enough course of enough hands, I'm going to have edge. The difference between a gambling product generally is based on totally random outcome, totally random events. Like if you walk into a casino, unless you're going to break the law, unless you're going to be a card counter, there's no way for you to get edge. So implicitly, anytime you put money down in a casino, you're gambling.
Correct.
Right? Here, the way that we look at it and our kind of position of this and like kind of where the state of the universe is going is that any market, any event, anything that you do that you can create edge in, it no longer becomes a gamble. It actually becomes a business to you. And trading for most people, and more because there's more and more information, there's more and more people in the market that are sharing information like yourself. Like access to that information can shallow your J curve. And these are things that you actually can participate in and have edge and make profit, be profitable at. And so we have set this up to be completely fair. There's no like massive fee gouging. There's no like hyper wide spreads. There's no bullshit. It's fair, it's transparent, it's secure, and it's just delivered in a way that we're hoping is, a very a good UI UX for, for the masses. But these products still can be used by more sophisticated people as well.
Sure. You want to show us? Because I'd love to see it. I don't know if you're prepared to do that, but
yeah, that's right.
Put you on the spot really quick. Hey, show it to me. But yeah, go ahead and share your screen.
All right, give me one sec. Are we good?
I don't see it yet. Did you hit share screen?
Oh, I did. Hang on a second.
Hey guys, watch two boomers try to share a screen on Zoom. Yeah, you're good now.
Is the writing too small for you?
My eyes. The eyes are so old. My old eyes. Yeah, you're good, man. You can go ahead.
All right, cool. All right, so this is TixWix. This is on the Hero.io platform. Again, right at the bottom, Hero services are prohibited in the United States, and there's a list of other countries, Bermuda, parts of certain regions of Canada, and OFAC blacklisted countries. Pretty much, there's a laundry list of countries that this cannot be accessed from. If you are in one of those, I'm sorry, but until regulations change, then we won't be able to offer it to you. But so here we go. So this is essentially a way that we have taken options and distilled them down to effectively market odds, and allows you to trade based on market odds. There's two ways that you can trade it. You can either say, you can either take a position on, there's actually four ways, on close above, which is will the price, based on the strike price, will the market close above by expiration or on expiration? Or you can do it, which is called a TIX contract, or you can do it as a Wix contract, which is a touch. Now this means that all that has to happen is that the market needs to touch the level, and then the contract will pay. And then you can do it on either, let's say this is on Bitcoin, you can do Bitcoin or Ethereum right now. I think Bitcoin is going higher. You can do it as lower. And then you also can do it as yes or no, meaning I think that it is going to close above, or that I think it's going to close, it won't close above, or I think it's going to close below, or it won't close below. So effectively, it's just the inverse of the yes on, and you can take either side of it. Doing the no's is somewhat analogous to being short options, but you don't have to deal with the short option risks that you have of effectively lots of margin that you have to post, or lots of collateral against margin that you have to post. And you don't have the liquidation risks. You don't have liquidation risks on this platform at all.
I was gonna say that's really interesting, because you can effectively take a short position without any fear of liquidation, which does not exist anywhere else I've ever seen.
Correct. No liquidation risk at all. So you just take the no. Like, I don't think it's going above 20,000. So like November here. So we're looking at the no's now. So the close above market for November 20. So Thanksgiving, 15,000 on the TIX contract. So the yes right now is paying. If you think that the market will close above, will be above 15,000 by November 27th, you can take this and you can get 3.76 to 1. So you put $100 on it, you'll get 376 back at settlement, at expiration on at the end of November 27th. Should the market close above that?
I would absolutely take that bet, by the way.
All day.
Yeah.
The 20,000s are getting a lot of action right now, which is great. So, so here, look at like the 20,000s paying 25 to 1 right now.
My God, get me there.
Big jump, worth it, right? So effectively what that is, it's just taking the options model and distilling it down, and the market is a 4% based on market price and all other factors in the market, 4% probability right now that the market closes above 20,000 by November 27th.
So what would that look like on Wix, where you just need to touch it? Because I'm sure there's a lot of people who are expecting that sort of rejection at that level, touches it, goes $100 above, and then drops for a while.
So Wix, logically, think logically, you don't have it's a different risk profile.
Of course.
So the odds are going to be a little bit, the probability is going to be higher that it is going to touch, but once it touches, it settles. There's no theta, there's no time element involved in it. The only time element is saying by November 27th, will it at least touch? Where on a close, like on a TIX contract, it would have to actually, it may go above 20,000, tomorrow, which would be pretty fucking amazing. But, but that, like, there's still the probability. You got to price in some probability that by November 27th, it actually won't be 20,000. So does that make sense? Like
yeah, I mean, it could sit there for 30. It could literally sit there for like 29 days and come back below right at closing. And if I was betting this shit on the ticks, I guarantee that's what would happen. Or it'd be like November 28th, we'd go to 24,000.
Totally, dude. Yeah. You'd get out of the wrong side of bed in the morning. You'd brush your hair the wrong way.
Yeah, wear underwear for a month.
Yeah, exactly. So something would happen that it would actually close like 19,999.99. So so what actually and I don't want to get into the complexities, but like a lot of people would think that like in a TIX contract, in a Wix contract, so in a TIX contract, like if it got to 20,000, you'd think, well, the probability would then be 100%, but it's not really the case. It's actually a 50-50, right? And then every day that goes by that you get closer to expiration, like let's say it was sitting right at like 20,001. Every day that goes by, it would just, the time premium would start working for you, and the odds would start coming down and down and down. The value of your position would go up and up and up, and then eventually it'll glide into that, that 100% that it's now settled above 20,000. But with the TIX contract, the beauty of this contract is that like we could go to 15,000, and then like I have this whole theory, like when we get above 15,000, that there's going to be all these like shorts and all these short premium, like from the vanilla options markets, which the volumes are really starting to pick up on. Like there's going to be a lot of covering or racing into like what's called buy units, like buy in your deltas, like buy in to cover, like, oh my God, if we go to 20,000, like I'm going to be really offsides. I'm going to be losing a lot of money. So they'll race in and start hedging, which will probably jump, and then liquidity will end up vaporizing.
Squeezed.
You're going to get this massive squeeze, this massive run to the door. And that's how we end up at 20,000. And you get that wick there, right? Somebody just goes in and market blasts it. Liquidity vaporizes. The index trades up to 20,000. Boom, you got paid 17.8 to 1. That's it.
Yeah, I think I would take the 17.8 to 1 with the wick personally at this moment, before I would take the, higher payout on betting on that close above. Just because I think there's going to be so many sellers. I don't think they'll hold forever, but I think that, when it's on a time basis, the odds of you getting rejected there for a little while are pretty high.
Correct. And that's part of the point. But then once you get there, and this is really where it gets fun, because these are multidimensional, you take into the consideration, you start looking at, some of the other contracts, you're looking at potentially spreading it, or you can start rolling, like now you're well in the money, you can roll that into something else further down. Like you can go into like you go into the D's contract, or you go into the March contract, things like that. And so there's just so much that you can do with it, and the dimensions that you can get off of it. You can do ETH to BTC spread, and then do that against like an ETH against BTC perp. Like there's just so many cool ways that, as we continue to educate the user base and the community on using these products, that these are the types of those are the types of trades that like you end up doing when you're like in a prop trader, or you're kind of running a trading desk. It's not so much just about like, hey, I think this is going higher, I'm just going to buy a fuckload of it. It's generally like trading different dimensions. Like you want to trade, maybe you want to strip out and like buy a 20,000 and buy an 11,000, basically be long the equivalent of a straddle in a way, like, where you're just getting paid on volatility. And like, there's just all these other elements that you can introduce to it that have different dimensions and cool ways to trade, to basically, like, you may not get the full capture of the risk of like where, like, yeah, that pure 25, 26 to 1 on the close above, like that's great juice, right? But you can find ways to consistently, more consistently with lower volatility, get more of like that residual type of P&L that you'd be looking for if you were doing this professionally. And then save some of your bullets for when you just like, you want to take some of those more lotto ticket events where you're really.
Do you guys, I know Hero Labs is like a pretty all-encompassing educational program at this point. I've already been on your guys' stream. It's awesome. So do you have the intention of going into more complex option strategies and teaching all this stuff? Because I think it's so over people's heads in general, but I think also to get a basic grasp of the Greeks and all that stuff, that it becomes a little more clear. But, to me, it always sounded like people were just screaming at me in a foreign language. My friends who are on Wall Street, I was like, puts and option, like puts and calls, man, let's go, and then you get into such complex spreads, but they really are not that complex, I think, once you get a grasp of it.
Once you get a grasp of it, they're definitely not. And once you understand the dimensions of it, you really start to think about the market differently. And, our goal, everything that we deliver, and even what I was just talking about a minute ago, like it, to me, it seems pretty basic. To the rest of the world, it may seem like total gibberish, but we want to deliver it down just like the same way that we're delivering these in like real-time market odds. Want to be able to deliver these in the same way. And I want to make it super easy for the user to actually be able to execute it. So like we'll take these, we'll figure out how to do them into packages, and then just distill it down to you know, a real simple number, and then do some education around it. Like, here, you can take this link, like you put, before you put this trade on, like hit this link and it'll give you like a 1-minute alpha description of, like, we do these things called 1-minute alphas. It'll give you a 1-minute description of exactly what you're doing. We're building in some of the mechanics that you see on some other sites, like where it'll show you kind of the path, like based on the current market. Like if the market does X, this is where your position should be, you know, P&L wise. If it does Y, this is where your position will be on the downside, P&L wise. And starting to introduce more of those tools, but in just like, it has to be the easiest, most simplistic user experience is all we're really trying to accomplish, because we just want to make it easy and enjoyable for people to do, and, as you know, with as least friction as possible. And you know, just introducing crypto into it and some of the decentralized stuff that we're doing with the platform, like, we think that it's going to continue to evolve to be, you know, less and less friction, and easier and easier to use, and just laying these products on top of it and being able to offer them to people both currently in the crypto world, and then introducing what is otherwise a familiar way to look at numbers to the rest of the world, and really hopefully get larger adoption around it.
I mean, this literally just launched yesterday. What's the volume been like?
So we did through last night, we did about 265,000 contracts, with like 3 or 4 hours to go before the full 24-hour period. And yeah, if people don't know, which I'm sure if you're in crypto, you've already seen, like, we did this under partnership with FTX. What an incredible group. Sam's actually, you know, is just an incredible mind, and has been a pleasure to work with. He has their engineering team is just world class, and he's got his main guy there is so fucking impressive that, like, he literally is like the equivalent of like 7 engineers in one, and he's like a laid back, super cool guy. And like, it was you really see why they've been successful as they've been. And so my hat's off to them, and you know, I'm definitely looking forward to doing more with them over time. But what we've done effectively is they've really, this is all built on the Hero front end system, and then we've plugged into their back end because they already had very robust, like, RFQ engine for the quoting, and a couple other things in there that made it very easy for us to get to market, you know, a lot.
So this is like, you're fully integrated with them on this.
Oh yeah, that's it. So actually, when you log on to this platform, if you already have an FTX account, then it will recognize that you have that, and then you take a couple steps, and you basically can link your account. Like, you can see up here, this is a TIX wallet. So just like if you had on a lot of the classic crypto exchanges, like you have a spot wallet and then you have like a margin wallet. So it's almost the same type of thing, even though like TIX and RIX are fully collateralized. So you basically can go from your Hero wallet. You can, like, if you want to transfer, so you just go here, you would just say, like, I want to transfer over to the TIX Wix wallet. You hit the transfer button. You would just say, okay, well, I want to do like 100 Hero worth. It's all moves in USDC equivalents, actually. So you'd get a number, and now it gives you.
Oh, so it quotes you in Hero based on whatever USDC number you put up.
Correct. It's just it gives you pretty much like right at the midpoint there, and then you click transfer now, and then hopefully it doesn't give me an error message, because that would suck. But
it has to, because you're live.
Of course,
it literally has to. It's just
shit. It worked. Damn it.
Just like 19,999 an hour before expiration.
Exactly.
Same phenomenon.
So that just moved into my TIX Wix wallet now as USDC, and then I wanted to go, you know, start participating here. Like, I'm looking at the market here. I want to get. I like the BTC TIX November 27th for, you know, 15,000, or the 15,000 strike. Okay, 3.75 to 1. Put $10 in. It gave me a quote. Click it. Boom. I'm done. I just traded it. That easy. So now I got I'm getting basically so this is a $10 position. If it expires above 15,000 on November 27th, I will get paid $37.55 on it.
I mean, it really is like a familiar sort of product for anyone who's ever bet games.
Totally. Same like it's the simplicity. It's a lot of Robinhood with Betfair, but for crypto markets. It's effectively
it's really, really awesome, man. The more I look at it, the more angry I am.
I know
it but this is like,
man,
it's so
aggravating for us. It's so aggravating for us that we cannot offer it in the US. And and look at we spend a lot of money with our counsel trying to figure out how do we structure so we can do this. A lot of it really, like when we started Hero, was really understanding is this really an exchange product? Is this really like a game, games? And it's kind of falls somewhere in between. And so over time, we really started, hitting kind of our stride and understanding more about what we're doing. And I think within the next, not too distant future, with kind of the way that the US is moving, and hopefully to a more crypto friendly environment, all of this will make sense for us to bring there.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that, because we had a podcast conversation and we talk offline about this all the time anyways, but and I asked you, why won't anyone touch the United States? I mean, it's a rhetorical question, obviously, knowing that regulation and everything is so difficult here. And you just touched on it, but do you see a world where all of a sudden Americans can actually think for ourselves and trade what we want? Or do you think that they'll just continue to regulate all the fun and options away?
I think that the regulators they need to be there, because I think that if you actually let it be totally, open season, that there'd be so many bad actors that would actually completely separate everyone on Main Street from their money. And it would actually be horrific for everybody. So there does need to be the right amount of regulation in there. And their job is to protect Main Street at the end of the day. And they need to continue to do that job well. There's no doubt about it. We have taken a decidedly conservative approach in our KYC AML policies, in how we approach the market itself, maintaining very fair markets. We've had zero customer complaints since we started, zero. And that has been a testament to what we've done along that paradigm. And so just continuing to maintain those good practices. And I think the more entities that are coming around out of the digital asset space that are operating like that, the better light it's going to shine on it. And I think that the CFTC, I think that the SEC, I think that everyone's going to really become understand the true benefits of it, and put it in a place that it needs to be, with its own set of more prescriptive ways of interacting with the US. And until that happens, it's too much risk.
Well, first, are you? Is there anything else you wanted to show us? Because I can then share the screen so we can talk, or you can continue to show us on the platform.
Here, one thing that's kind of neat that I'll show. This is kind of maybe off of the back of kind of the whole yield farming side of the world. That one thing that we find interesting is look at the no for a second, and you can take if you were somebody that really felt that that we were just going to range out between 12,000 and 14,000 for the foreseeable future. You could actually go here. Actually, let me do it on a longer time frame, because you'll get it better.
Yeah, I was going to ask you what happens if you want to close your position before expiration. So
Here, look at the March 2021. So let's take the 20,000 strike. It's paying 1 point. So you can take the no that it won't close above. Okay, and if you're right, it'll pay you 1.1. So it'll pay you for every $1. For every $10 you have, it'll pay you pay you $15. $15. And so not a bad ROI, right? So it's you really, if you take this, you're effectively making 15% on your money to carry it 5 months right now. Okay. Now let's think about that over the course of a year. and you start rolling these. And so we have products, we have ones that are running daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly. You start rolling these month to month, what you actually create is a yield strategy. And if you think about what happens in the vanilla options markets, like most of the market is actually selling options. There's a lot of options, huge amount of option selling. Why is that done? Because it's done as part of like income strategies. And just like yield farming, like we effectively are going to be introducing strategies that show how to collect yield off of this in a way that is analogous to farming yield. You're actually just farming odds effectively, and doing it without the risk of rug pull, without this mass inflation that goes into your underlier, so your effective rate is actually like net zero, and showing how you really can create competitive yield through strategies of not shorting options, because that comes with very asymmetric risk, but actually buying the no. And so, it's just taking, just like everything, pretty much everything that happens in crypto for the most part nowadays, like it's things that happen in the existing legacy markets and just applying it to newer technology, and ways of creating less friction for everybody. So we're really excited to be doing that type of stuff. So that's kind of the other side of the coin, where we think a lot of the action will come on the no side of the market. And
I mean, those are the kind of strategies that funds are running, right? I mean, that's how this is done.
I'm pretty sure the largest option seller in crypto is actually like a large fund that's got some big clients behind it, that all they do is sell options. Yeah. That's all they do. They sell, you sell call spreads, you sell straddles, you sell strangles, and then you roll them month over month over month to just try to collect yield off of it. And then but the problem is, and most people don't know this, is that selling options is great until it isn't. 98%, there's this old adage, 98% options expire worthless, but like that 2% is
crushing,
fucking shitstorm. Yeah, nickels in front of a steamroller usually. So,
and what does that look like? Like, give an example here of what that would look like for someone that was rolling them out on any Bitcoin option strategy, or any market, doesn't matter.
Yeah, you'll make 1,000, you'll make 1,000, you'll make 1,000, because the market's just kind of doing its thing, going one way or the other, and it's got good two-way trade to it. You'll make 10,000, you'll make 10,000. You'll start rolling it, you start compounding it, and then you wake up one morning and some big news comes out, and Bitcoin shits the bed. Volatility rolls out, or conversely, like Bitcoin decides to break out and go on its run.
Yeah, the other way,
which we don't talk about the downside here, do we? It's not allowed. Only
not if you don't want thumbs downs the whole time.
Exactly. So well, just for the record, like I am a massive bull right now. So like
yeah, actually you sent that tweet, which I retweeted at some point, that said something to the effect of, in the next 6 months we will see the beginnings of a massive, and it was like
to the day,
almost 6 months to the day.
Yeah, April 21st I sent it, and then like October 21st we started moving.
In fact, it was my wife who told me. That's Emmy amazing. She was like, didn't Dan tweet something like basically 6 months ago? And we looked, and you were like,
I had it pinned, man. I had a dream the night before. This like naked Indian dude showed up and was like, Bitcoin's gonna rally. October 21st.
You're not allowed to count things that you think of in the sweat lodge. As,
exactly.
I've seen billions, man. I know where they whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm gonna unshare the screen just so
okay. Go for it.
Like it. So that's interesting. So how deep does the integration and partnership with FTX go then? And because interestingly, obviously they have a US compliant exchange, so it leads me to
right, but it's spot only, and it's got very limited. It has very limited, in terms of the products that exist that are facing non-US. But look, it's not to say, like I said, it's something that we're monitoring literally like every minute. And, as we scale our regulatory profile globally, and it's just becomes more and more of a consideration. So we'll get there eventually.
But like, retail traders are getting absolutely smashed on Robinhood and
I know.
E-Trade
We can give them something better here.
everywhere else. Like if you, and they're not teaching you a strategy.
Right.
You go, you see Davey Day Trader on Twitter or whatever, and you see what he's doing, and then you see options on there, and you just start, trading a bunch of products you don't understand. You guys are going to roll out a strategy and say, listen, just kind of follow this. And I mean, it seems that this is a far more responsible way to trade than what is acceptable.
Yeah, and again, this goes back to what I was saying earlier. Is like you can treat trading. Don't let the entertainment value of the look of the platform fool you from the fact that like these are actually very fair, very great products to use that are very useful across multiple dimensions from a trading perspective. Anybody on this planet, including people that are not even of legal age to do it, can find their way to some platform and put down money and gamble.
Of course.
You can use it as a gambling tool if that's the fix that you need. Is that fun? Sure. Do you get a rush off of it? Sure. Like, you're not going to stop people from in this world from doing that. That's just human. Everybody's chasing the dopamine. That's all there. It doesn't matter what you're swiping on fucking Tinder or trading. Like, you're chasing a rush there, right?
What's Tinder?
Yeah, I wouldn't know. I really wouldn't. Totally boomer, big time. And you're just chasing a rush, and so you could, like, there's a real argument to be made. Like, you can use these platforms for that type of stuff. As regulated as they are, as compliant as they are, it doesn't matter. You can go on to E-Trade and like totally degen your account down to zero, and even more so, like degen yourself into a place where you owe them money.
Yeah, I was gonna say not just zero.
Yeah,
margin call,
mortgage your house, like. So this is the antithesis of that, to be quite honest. So that's really what we think we can offer, and offer it in a way that is just like, it can still be fucking cool and fun and friendly and like snarky and okay. Like, it doesn't have to be like, boring, which really, like, that there's no emotional reward that you get from looking at a boring fucking trading platform from, the legacy world. And I definitely don't. Like, I don't look at it like that. And I can still do same things on a pretty cool looking and have a really cool user experience and have crypto weaved into it, earn incentives, be a part of a larger network, help scale the network, like all of those things into one. And that's really what we're doing at Hero, and where we're going to take this, this platform and product.
That's awesome. Yeah. I want to tell people, if you have any questions, feel free. I'd never mentioned that, so you might not be typing them into the comments, but you can go ahead and do that. Actually, there are a few things here where people are making comments. Dan, someone said these products will bite people as ultimately when the 10-year treasury bond drops and negative rates kick in. I don't know. I don't think he's talking about your products. I think you might be talking about what we were talking about, but I'm not sure if.
Oh, yeah. Where was it? Wait, what did he say?
Right at the bottom. So these products will bite people as ultimately when the 10-year treasury bond drops and negative rates kick in. I mean, 10 years dropped. It was at like
still dropping, right?
50 basis points or something.
It might. I mean, look, isn't that one of the stories of Bitcoin right now? Like, is the real store of value play is the store of value. Like, Bitcoin at 100,000, gallon milk is $9. Like, interest rates are negative. Like, we can set the world on fire at that point. But I mean, they're already setting the world on fire. So.
Yeah. So what do you make of, totally pivoting, like, and setting the world on fire? I actually talked to Michael Saylor yesterday for the podcast. We had like 80-minute conversation, then another half hour offline. The dude blew my mind. But what do you make of seeing things like that, like MicroStrategy? And he also came out yesterday and said that because, you basically had $500 million of MicroStrategy's money at the treasury. But then he said he bought 17,000 Bitcoin. So like $220 million worth himself. And he was like, I'm not asking my shareholders and board to do it. And if I can't show him I did it, so I did it first. So he's the first. Do you think that we're going to see dominoes, or do you think that like people are going to be like, that's the lunatic guy on Wall Street who bought all the Bitcoin?
Dominoes, 100%. And not because of how he's like showcasing it, but because it's smart. And there's also this, like, there's that, like, if I don't do it,
Yeah, there's going to be FOMO.
My board's in it. Right. It's like, it's the pension that doesn't have, IBM in their portfolio, and that, like, if I don't do it, my job's on the line.
Right,
And
because just like we saw, Goldman talking about a trading desk in 2017, and all of a sudden, all these like
where did that
asset
go?
managers and family offices were calling. They didn't know what it was, but you had to be able to talk about Bitcoin if you were an asset manager because your customers were calling. So sort of the same thing. They're just going to have to do it because there's going to be demand.
That's correct. And like your shareholders are going to want it. It's just a smarter hedge. It just gets to the point where, like, works out or not has more risk than doing it. And so I think that we're going to definitely see that happen. And I think that it's actually going to be needed. I also think that I'm in it for the tech part of, I actually think Bitcoin, like the network, like at the end of the day, is going to be the most widely used network for, not for going to like buy fucking coffee at Starbucks.
No.
But like big corporations sharing data.
That's what he said.
Yeah, keeping data secured, like major governments using it for those purposes as well. And like you're gonna need Bitcoin for feeds and like that, but it is the most secure network that has ever been created that we know of.
That's basically what he said.
Yeah, man, that to me is like somebody really bright that I was talking to a few weeks ago was like, he goes, think of it as like this tectonic plate that's just like shifting under the earth, that like, but everything sits on top of it. And like, that's effectively, this is a guy that's like, I mean, this guy knows his shit. And like, it was a great way to describe it. And I really believe that is like the true play of it. So does it is it used for store value? Sure. Like it's got value to it. It's got the pure mechanics of it, the way that the Bitcoin network is designed, like that number is going up. It doesn't mean that like liquidity couldn't vaporize on the downside and some weird shit with derivatives couldn't like dump it back to 8,000 again, but like that number's going up. It's going up.
Yeah, it feels like a foregone conclusion. You just hate to be the like, this time it's different guy, but it feels like this time it's different.
Yep.
This is, and the real money's coming. His argument was, and he, I asked him about it because I was like, why? You could have done this privately, you could have whatever. And he was like, we need like 5-10 billionaires, guys like me who have the balls to say it, and then who have the balls to even like say, I own it personally. Like invite the hackers, invite everyone who, he's like, everybody's trying to fucking steal my Bitcoin now.
I mean, dude, we're like, I have, our partners are pretty, like we got some, partners, operating partners, amazing operating partners in Hero. And they, they're, some of their network is pretty, pretty powerful group of people. And like that part of the population is so heavily into Bitcoin right now.
Oh yeah.
And that, you just see the talking heads, and you don't see the people that are quiet, like the people that walk quietly and carry big sticks, like they're in it. And if they're not in it, some percentage of their portfolio is, and then, getting it across the line with a corporate board, different.
He did it though. Yeah. I mean, he convinced the lawyers, the board, the whatever.
Amazing. Yeah.
That's the most amazing thing to me is like, if you listen to the guy talk for like an hour, you'll understand how, because he's just like, one of those rare minds, I mean, the guy blew my mind, but like his point was like, he's like, I'm doing it. He's like, I'm shit. He's like, what happens when Zuckerberg does it?
Totally, dude.
Apple does it. He's like, I'm putting in $500 million. He's like, what happens when Apple puts in 10 billion?
That's right. And guess
what? And they can't now. And so that actually requires the price being 40, 50,000 and the market cap being higher for those guys to even be able to buy as much as they might want. So they're probably, his argument was they're looking now. They can't put a meaningful amount on their balance sheet at the current market cap.
Yeah, that's the reality of it. And it when you're that big, like a lot of times that you can't do transactions like this because you just become too big of the market, too big a piece of the market. I mean, I actually had somebody with Hero who offered to buy like enough, like when we were going through the liquidity producer pool, that I had to say no to, like, which was painful. But I was like, okay, so for it to actually matter to this person's entity, like they need to buy a lot of it, and like they would own too much of it that it would compromise the network. And so the answer is no.
Yeah, literally impossible for a certain level to gain exposure. So now when we talk about institution, it's like family offices and crypto hedge funds and stuff like that. But we're not talking about like,
institutions, big conglomerates, pensions, sovereign wealth funds. Those are institutions.
Imagine when pensions want to put 1% to 5% in this. Man.
How about sovereign wealth funds that like are shitting out billions of dollars a month that they're bringing in that they cannot do anything with, and they need to. Like
that was his other argument. He's like, everyone's sitting in cash reserves, which is losing 7-8% of its buying power every single year. So like you're losing money in cash. You cannot.
Don't you learn that
cash
like
anymore?
The day you're born is like
you should, but they don't teach you that in school.
No, but usually your dad like is like, you're not putting that like $20 you just earned caddying like under your fucking bed. It's like back then.
Right. They teach. Yes, they teach you the opposite. Back then they told you have to save your money. Now you literally have to like get your money into anything else.
Anything, physical assets, fucking Bitcoin, Euro,
Yeah,
all of it. Yeah,
I agree with all of that.
Me too. So, somebody asked, who's going to win the election? Interesting question. Can I take my take on that for 1 second?
I would rather they hear me talk all the time, so rather you talk.
I want to talk more about the prediction market, and because this is really just like what I think is a really good way to look at trading, is that I don't know who's going to win the election. I actually think, and I am not, for the record, going to share my political view one way or the other, because it's I'll tell you that I'm not going to vote for Trump or for Biden, but I will vote. And I think that the market is mispricing how much closer it'll be than what it currently says.
Saying that all the time.
Yeah, it's like what's like 35% Trump right now. I think that as we get closer over the next couple days, like I think this thing really needs to be a lot closer to 50-50. And then I think you're going to have to watch, like, I mean, obviously it's the 13 swing states. I think that there's going to be, you want to watch Vigo County, Indiana. It's kind of like the one spot in the U.S. that like has called the election for the last 16 elections, I think. But you'll start to see prices adjust in those markets like super quick. That should be pretty fun to be participating in. But I think that we have this bias from media, because pretty much everybody in the media except Fox News wants Biden. They're trying to literally like wheel Biden across the line, and most people want, they want change. They want to get rid of Trump. What we see, it's not like when you really dig in and go like start going to the middle of America and to just like the rest of the country, things change. Like the attitudes change. Like we're really seeing people that live in like around big cities, and like you're starting to see, that's where you see information derived from. And it's like, to me, it creates this asymmetry between what the media is telling you and what reality is. And so that actually creates trading opportunities. So like if you look at, I think do I think Trump is going to win? I don't know. But do I think he's too cheap relative to where they're placing him in the market?
Pot odds are good. Yeah.
Pot odds are amazing to push some stack against it. So I think that's kind of where my head is on it.
I mean, you see things like Nate Silver, like it's so dramatic I think he was priced at 1-8 for Trump or something, 1-7, 1-6, something so absurd. It's almost to the point where you see something like that and you think the guy's probably like got money on Trump.
Totally.
It's so offsides and so crazy, because like early voting is misleading. It would be like people are pretending that everyone's early voting just because they're so passionate about election and not because they're dead ass afraid of showing up at a poll because of a global pandemic. Right. I mean,
right.
I mean, showing up at the booth, like people are voting early because they are not going to go vote.
Right.
But you know who is going to go vote? Every single Trump voter.
Oh yeah.
On that day, because they think COVID is a hoax. And so, I mean, to count early voting numbers as a metric versus previous early voting is the most absurd. And that's what they're doing when you watch it. They're like, 5 times as many people have voted early. Well, of course they have, because they can't go to the poll. They don't even know if their polling place will be open that day.
I know people that think he's going to win in a landslide.
Biden.
Trump.
Oh, really? I see. I mean, I know a lot of people who think Biden's going to win in a landslide, and it's the same narrative as when Hillary was going to win in a landslide, right? I mean, we saw this 4 years ago.
Dude,
like you said, this has nothing to do with your political leanings. It's funny, like you can't have a conversation about this without people getting triggered, but you can actually have like a completely unbiased, you can have a very biased political view, but an unbiased view of the election and the odds.
Correct.
Just like you can be like a mega Bitcoin bull and short it sometimes.
Exactly. That's exactly it. And it's like, that's the path risk part of trading that, again, like whether it's an election or whether it's a TIX-WIX contract or whether it's fucking Bitcoin spot, doesn't matter. Like that path, like, we all know Bitcoin's going, we wouldn't be here if we didn't think all think Bitcoin's going higher. You're not here because you think it's going to zero. The path of getting there is really how you trade and how you extract alpha from it. So
do you have any particular feeling on market effects of either of the outcomes?
I think that the market likes certainty. And look, I traded on Trump, and I'll share a quick story. And I think we're going to run low on time here, but I'll share a really quick story. So the last election, I was driving home with the guy who's the CEO of DV, and we were listening to the election. We were like, okay, if Vigo County, so we were driving home, and then we heard that Vigo County, which is this big county that everybody watches, Trump won, right? And we were like, holy shit. And we were like, okay, if it looks like Trump's going to win Florida, like we're going to go home and eat dinner. I'm going to pick you up. We're going back to the office. And sure enough, Trump won Florida. We all got short S&Ps. And because everyone was expecting, it's just going to be Hillary, like real easy. Market already priced it in. Market had to adjust. We get our asses back down to our trading floor. S&Ps went limit down. Every time a new state came in, it was like going lower and lower, and then boom, limit down. It was actually the single greatest trading night that I've ever seen in S&Ps. But it went actually that and Brexit, because on Brexit it did the same exact thing. It went all the way to the lows.
The best swing trades of my entire life were Brexit. I was at a friend's 40th birthday party in New York. They announced Brexit, and everything started dumping. And I was like, this is insane. If this even happens, it'll happen in like 4 years. Yep. So you're probably talking about the short side of it at that moment. But I just bought everything the next day. Like I bought Netflix down 18%. I was like, is Netflix 18% shittier because England might, the UK might separate? No.
That is trading. That is trading. Like that is next level trading of how you get really fucking rich trading. And those opportunities don't come often. And that's why you need to save powder for when those opportunities do come up, because you're like, something over here it's like this weird butterfly effect, that something over here totally unrelated is now dragging all this other stuff down really easy. Like you don't worry about what's over here. This is going to do what it's going to do. This got dragged down just strictly by market beta. Like I'm going to buy the shit out of this water. Yeah. The baby got thrown out with the bathwater. I'm going to buy this thing on sale. And there you go. So we did that. And sure enough, limit down, came off a limit. And by the end of the day, made new highs. Yep. And which is exactly what Brexit did, right? And so there was this concept of like, holy shit, confusion, what the fuck's going to go on? Everybody's just like, get me to cash. But, now it's looking more and more like Trump's going to win. Now we have an answer. Let's see. Okay, well now all of his policies are going to point towards, something good for the US or for the economy and for the market, and let's go. So I think we'll probably see something similar in that, like this uncertainty people are
It'll
not
be temporary.
And then I do think if Biden wins, you probably see it as Biden's winning, you probably see the market go lower and lower. If Trump looks like Trump's winning, you're probably going to see the market rally. And then either way, like Biden, you probably see it take a shit and then eventually recover. And that because he's not ripping the Band-Aid off of, that printing. He's going to start he's going to put out a government RFP for more printing machines.
It's going to be more stimulus and more printing. So, I mean, there's no coherent argument I've heard for either being particularly bad for the market because nobody's changing fiscal or monetary policy. And
the good thing for all of us, like either way, Bitcoin wins. So,
yeah, I know you got to go.
Yeah, man.
So thank you, man. I'll let you sign off. I'll say a couple more things and then, but everybody, all the information you need on Hero is in the description below. You can follow Dan there. You can follow Hero there, I believe. And definitely you can go check out Ticks and Wicks, which unless you're an American, sorry.
Sorry, guys.
One day
you will get we have the America, remember the America fuck yeah? We actually created the America fuck no GIF.
America.
Exactly. The fuck yeah. And now it's fuck no. So yeah, we're trying to have a little bit of fun with it at least. So because it's
you gotta be able to laugh.
That's right, man. So thanks for having me. And like Scott said, hero.io, definitely check it out. Check out herolabs.io too. We're really building up that site. We have some amazing analysts on it. We're going to put more and more streams on it. We got a couple of surprises for people in the next couple of weeks that I'm really excited to be sharing soon. And if you're eligible, obviously hero.io, check it out. You can contact me on Twitter at any time to ask questions. I'm CryptoSwag1111 on Telegram also. Feel free to
nice name
there. Yeah, thanks.
I never even noticed that was your name. That's amazing.
Yeah, that was I kind of kicking myself in the ass for it. But
Crypto Baller 420 69 69,
something like that. But that's what we got. And so definitely check us out, and really appreciate anybody that's joined us today.
All right, man. Thank you so much. And
thanks, Scott.
We'll do it again.
Cool.
And we will just continue on here for a couple minutes when he signs off. If he signs off, maybe he'll just look at us awkwardly. I just know there was a couple more questions that I wanted to
take. Oh, is there?
Here. Not just on my end, random other stuff. Oh, someone said question is not who will win, but what happens next day. COVID is real, and at best, we're looking at 2 years before life returns to normal. I think the question there, that might be my dad. Richard, I think it is. I think that
hey, Richard.
Hi, Dad. I think that's his picture. I'm squinting, but yeah, I think that's him.
Is somebody catfishing?
No, I think it's actually him. I think that he's absolutely he's right. Obviously, but it goes back to the discussion of the market being different than the economy. I think the market will react very differently, and the economy will continue to suffer to some degree. I mean, also France is going back into lockdown. I think for a month, Germany's announcing new lockdowns. It's going to be Groundhog Day here for a long time, I think. For real people.
I think it's just new paradigm.
Yeah, I think you're right.
There's no return.
Maybe it adjusts, certain things continue to die off and certain things replace them. And hopefully there becomes we're on Zoom live streaming right now, right? We wouldn't have been seeing these things kind of proliferate in this manner unless COVID. So I think that, a lot more food delivery and a lot less restaurants, and people will adjust, sadly.
Exactly.
All right. Yeah. So I think that is actually about it, guys. We'll probably go ahead and just all completely sign off here. So thank you. Check out the links once again in the description, and check out Hero, and we will do this again soon. Bye-bye. I think we're good.